Are you looking for a quick way to lose weight? Always looking for that gimmick or whatever? Is it that you want to lose weight? Because maybe that's the way you've been taught. You got to get on a diet in order to lose weight. But guess what happens when you lose something? Lose your keys. You find them. So how about if we can reformat the way that we look at health instead of looking at weight loss or about a quick fix or a fad diet, what if there's a different way that is much simpler and healthier for you? Well, today in the classroom, we are fortunate that we have world-renowned New York best-selling author, New York Times best-selling author, and he's a wonderful teacher when it comes to teaching us about being a Nutritarian and how food can be our medicine, Dr. Joel Fuhrman. He will share breakthroughs in nutrition and what is keeping us from releasing the weight that we desire and being healthy.
And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
Hi, my name is Lillian McDermott, and I am a certified life coach and the host of the Lillian McDermott radio show. I'm also a certified holistic cancer coach. If this is your first time in the classroom, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide natural ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friend, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth. And so you can live the life of your dreams. Well, today it's a dream because we have Dr. Joel Fuhrman in the classroom who is going to set us straight with all these things that are happening in the world where people are reaching out to like grasp for something easy that might be perceived easy, but there are huge trade-offs, prices and trade-offs. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Dr. Joel Fuhrman is here to do just that. Welcome back to the classroom, Dr. Fuhrman.
Oh,
Did I
thank
catch
you.
you off guard there?
I got I had an emergency call so I had to like take care of the call, but I got it. I texted him. He's
Okay.
gonna call back in an hour. All good. I'm here.
I'm glad that you're here. So let's talk about some of these fad diets, some of these things that are happening, and people are just focusing on, how do I lose the weight? How do I lose the weight? But today we're going to be talking about what's keeping us from releasing the weight. So share a little bit about your background, Dr. Furman, and why you're so passionate about the proper way for nutrition and how nutritional science is the optimal way to heal the body.
Well, this is all married together. In other words, keeping a thin body weight by eating a diet of nutritional excellence adds decades of life, of healthy lifespan, it protects us against cancer, protects our brain against dementia, and gives us the ability to enjoy our life physically and mentally as we age. So we're talking here about weight loss, but weight loss is intricately involved and related to our health and our lifespan, because there's no such thing as a healthy overweight person. And every person with excess body fat is putting themselves at risk of heart attack, cancer, leg amputations, kidney failure, brain, depression, dementia, and they're heading towards a medical tragedy in their life because of their not eating foods that are well adapted to their body. So weight loss is important, but we keep that in the context that losing weight temporarily and then gaining some weight back again is worse than not losing. So even though it's better to be slim, it's not healthy to yo-yo your weight and to lose and gain and to lose and gain and to lose and gain. When you're losing weight, you are reducing risk. But when you're gaining weight back again, the fat you put back on is generally more saturated, especially if it's put back on more rapidly. And as the regain of weight as put on more saturated fat that's stored more viscerally, it raises cholesterol more than fat that took years to grow that was more subcutaneous, which means outside of the abdominal wall around your waist and your hips and your butt. So fat that's around your internal organs is more dangerous. And when you regain weight, you put it more around your internal organs and it becomes more dangerous. So any weight loss technique that is not sustained, any weight loss you achieve that is not sustained, that you don't maintain that weight loss is not good, is not safe. So when you go on these crash diets and you lose lots of weight, you gain it back again, you put yourself at worse health, not better health. So therefore, it becomes the question is, how do you lose weight permanently? And you can't lose weight permanently unless you change the way you see the world, unless you change your identity, unless you change how you use food and how you use people and how you gain your self-esteem and how you relate to others and how you accept peer pressure and how you accept how you want praise and approval from other people. In other words, you can't lose weight permanently unless you make a massive change to the way you think. That takes a lot of training. And we can talk about this in the more depth, but underlying what we're going to talk about today is that the American diet is probably one of the most deadly diets that you could design. If scientists tried to make a diet more harmfully damaging, you couldn't hardly make it worse than the design of the American diet. And so people are socialized. Their culture is around recreating with dangerous foods. Their social relationships and recreation is around recreating with alcohol and dangerous foods. And they're indoctrinated, and their education has made them believe that the most dangerous foods are good for them. They think that olive oil and oil and those fats are a necessary part of good health, and yet those oils form an addictive caloric rush in the brain, keep them chronically overweight, and are one of the major factors creating the disease epidemic in our country today. Yet the Americans think those things are actually good for them because they've been brainwashed to think so. And we'll talk about that too. We'll talk about the caloric rush and how that affects your desire to eat excess calories unless you lose that relationship with, unless you change the neuroplasticity in the brain so you're no longer habituated and desirous of a caloric rush, you can't succeed on permanently being comfortable with a lower caloric load. So I'm just like summarizing what we'll kind of like
No,
maybe
I
talk
love
about
it.
the
I
next
love
hour,
it. I
Yeah.
love it. Before we get started on that, though, I am really concerned about the amount of people that are rushing to get drugs like Ozempic, or now they have different names. They'll say, "Oh, it's not Ozempic, it's something else. It has this or it has that, and this is better than that." There's all these different names, probably for the same type of product that is going to cause them to lose muscle. It's going to cause them to gain all the weight back. And the side effects, I was researching the side effects like thyroid cancer, all these, problems with their kidneys, gallbladder issues, pancreatitis, kidney damage, gastrointestinal. It freezes their their stomach. So I'm just concerned that everybody's rushing to that. What is your advice for these people that are thinking that this is a cure, that it will be sustainable for them?
You know, we could talk for hours about this because it's all linked to the way people are culturally indoctrinated
Hmm.
to think that drugs are what and doctors are our saviors
Hmm.
and that medicines are our answers to happiness and health.
Yes.
We don't see that our health is our responsibility and that the way we take care of ourselves creates the life for ourselves. They think you just eat unhealthily, and that's okay because doctors will have the answers by giving us poisons. And
Hmm.
it's the same thing if you lived in the 14th century. You could go around to this guy selling on the back of his cart and a donkey, selling you some alcohol mixed with some tincture of lead or mercury to take that's going to take away your headaches. And you're going to buy this thing because we're living in the, medieval times.
Mhm.
The first week of medical school, you learn that drugs are toxic. They're poisonous. They work by blocking the body's function with some kind of poison. And that as we increase the level of exogenous waste, and the word exogenous means wastes and poisons from the outside world. Exogenous means from outside there. Obviously, our body produces its own waste inside. Those are called endogenous wastes. But the amount of medications we take, that's why we have doctors writing prescriptions, supposedly to minimize medications. But it doesn't come out that way because they wind up discovering that their economic well-being is giving people drugs and writing as many prescriptions as people want. So doctors don't even become a gateway to prevent drug use. They become a gateway to accelerate drug use. The socialization in medical economy is based on people's belief that when you have a headache, you take a drug to get rid of your headache. When you're fatigued, go to a doctor to give you amphetamines. When you can't concentrate, then you take stimulants. When you're anxiety, you take amphetamine, you take benzodiazepines. When so the whole thing is putting poisons in our body to modulate the symptoms of disease instead of what is the cause of the problem? How do we solve the cause? How do we fix the problem? But there's no fixing in medicine. You have high blood pressure due to a bad diet and lack of interval training and salt eating. You just go back and continue your salt, continue your animal fats, continue your, just take this medication to lower it. You'll think you're okay. Because you think that the blood pressure now looks normal, even though it's not normal. Your blood pressure, drugs are covering it up. But then you took poisons in your body, which then increase the risk of cancer. So, yes. So, number one, temporary weight loss is not beneficial. So the only benefit to losing weight would be if the person kept the weight off. So since we know the minute the person stops the drugs, the weight comes back, that means by definition, the drug has no benefit unless you stay on it the rest of your life. Obviously we have to, we have methodology where people can successfully lose weight through eating healthfully and exercising
Yeah.
regularly. People think they can't lose weight because they don't understand how the body and the brain work together.
Yeah.
But in any case, this drug example now does cause people to lose a moderate amount of weight, not enough weight. They're only losing, less than 10% of their body weight. They're 150 pounds overweight and they lose 25 pounds.
Mhm.
That's not going to have a major effect. That's like cutting back of smoking from 3 packs to 2 packs.
Mhm.
Sure, it modulates their weight downward a little bit, but they're doing it at the expense of putting a cancer-causing drug in their body for the rest of their life.
Yes.
Right. And now with other potential side effects, as you started to mention, there's always risks. And the risks of medications are enhanced when you're on multiple medications. And the risks of medications are studied one at a time, and where they're releasing the list of drug damage and risks of that medication, they're not mixing it when a person's on that medication with a beta blocker,
Correct.
with a statin
Correct.
drug, with a diabetic medication. When you start to put them all together, then you really have the liver working overtime and
Correct.
accelerating your life, aging very rapidly. So it's not effective enough. It's not going to work. And anything you do, unless you do it forever, even going on, the latest thing is like, well, the keto diet and the carnivore diet were big lately, but now there's a new diet called the sardine diet.
You were telling me about that. What is that about?
I was just
I'm
reading in
sure,
the medical
I'm sure,
literature.
I'm sure that the cats love them, so what is the sardine diet?
Nothing but sardines. You
Wow.
just you just live on sardines and you
Why?
lose weight and water.
Well, you're losing weight because you become unhealthy, right? I
Just they
mean,
control, people think this is the stupidity of the population and also the doctors and all the people who advise this and are talking about it. Because parameters like cholesterol goes down and triglycerides goes down and weight goes down and diabetes numbers look better, they think that these short-term numbers are going to turn into long-term benefits.
okay.
And we know that that's not true. That soft endpoints that go down, measurable health parameters
Mhm.
that go down are only beneficial if they maintain that way, right?
Yes.
Without incurring other risks. Now, Just like you can smoke cigarettes to lower cholesterol and to lose weight too, or you could snort cocaine and smoke simultaneously. But it's only good if you test these things with long endpoints. You can't stay on a sardine diet the rest of your life. So, so it's back to this idea of temporary weight loss as being damaging, but they don't realize that sardines are the fish that you eat with the whole digestive tract of the fish intact. They eat the
Mhm.
whole fish. So they're getting a mouthful of plastic. They're
Okay.
getting a mouthful of microplastic, and
Yeah.
they're further. And even though you may stop the sardine diet after feeling sick after a few weeks, after you may be sick of the diet, but now the plastics don't leave your body. The microplastics stay in your body for 10 years. They
Yes.
tell people who are pregnant that we've done studies now to show that you have to stay off seafood for like 4 years to get the level of PCBs and plastics low enough to have a healthy child. You
Wow.
got to stay away from seafood for years to get these poisons out of your body. And cumulatively they cause damage. The baby is the Geiger counter. When something causes damage to a baby, it doesn't mean it's not going to cause damage when you're an adult and you're no longer giving birth. It just takes longer for the dangers to be seen because the dangers occur 30 years later, when you're 60s and 70s and when you're dying of cancer, then you finally have the dangers occur from what you did 20, 30 years earlier. But when you're pregnant and you do things that are bad, or when you're around childbearing ages, you can see the results more quickly by having abnormalities in your baby. You know what I mean? So it's like the baby becomes the Geiger counter of things that are unhealthy to put in your body. But the babies, we know that. And we also know, of course, that lake fish, freshwater fish, is full of BMAA from agricultural runoff causing algae overgrowth and cyanobacteria. And the coastal waterways are full of plastic. And also we have the shellfish and bivalves, which are shrimp, which are clams, scallops, oysters, and mussels are fully contaminated with BMAA, increasing linked to ALS and PDS, Parkinson's dementia syndrome. So any diet revolving around the seafood stuff is particularly dangerous today.
It's kind of
Yeah.
scary. It really is kind of scary.
And
Okay.
because doctors are so narrowly focused on their one specialty and their education is so narrow, they don't have the um, exposure to the world of nutritional research. They're not nutritional researchers. They don't know all the risks out there. They don't know the risk of eating the digestive tract of a sardine. They don't know the risks, the risk between, they don't know what they're talking about. They're just looking, it's the same thing. You give a person a drug to temporarily lose weight. They haven't studied this. Obviously this is my lifetime's work, and I'm
Yeah.
not, I always would love to be an orthopedic surgeon. I love working with my hands and doing carpentry on human tissue would be a lot of fun, but it's not my specialty. I'm not trained in that. And I spent my life being trained and spending my every waking moment studying the scientific literature on human nutrition.
Mhm.
And I don't have the expertise to prepare to do a hip replacement surgery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And neither do these doctors have any, even and their education and their experience, they don't really know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
They don't have the expertise and experience, and they're not facilely, they're not, they haven't read the 30,000 articles they need to read to intelligently communicate on this issue.
No, I and I
30,000, they have to spend years, I've spent decades reading thousands of articles to accumulate this knowledge, and they've spent thousands of years spending thousands of articles reading how to do the best hip replacement surgery or brain surgery.
that's
It's
right.
completely different,
No,
you
I
know.
know, I know, I know. And it's crazy. It's crazy because I've had doctor after doctor after doctor come in and say we didn't have but maybe one class in all these years that we went to school on nutrition. We're not prepared for that. And I even had one doctor who said that on his third year of his residence or his first year of residency, he was told by the dean that if he thought he was going to cure anybody, to think again that he was there to manage medication, and that's so disheartening. But he still became an MD because he was going to beat the system. He wanted to use broccoli and use nutritional excellence to help a person to live longer. And so you have to, sometimes you don't have to drink the Kool-Aid all the way, but I mean, he knew that this was wrong. He knew this was
Right.
wrong, and he did
Do
it.
you
And he,
ever, I know you're in Florida. Do you ever have Kushak Reddy on your show?
oh yeah, well, yes, of course, we've had actually, yeah, a long time ago. a
Yeah,
long
he's a
time
good
ago.
guy, right in Florida, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to him again. It's been a while that
I
I've
was once in the back of a lecture. He was giving a lecture in the front of the room, and I'm in the back of the room in the last seat. Walked in the back in the last seat, row of seats, and he said to the audience, three people affected my life the most: my parents and Dr. Fuhrman. Can you
oh,
imagine a doctor, a specialist, a cardiovascular specialist saying that I've affected his life as much as his parents have?
yeah.
So really cool, right?
Yeah,
Mm.
because I was there at a talk, a lecture. I don't know if you were there at the same time, but I know that I met him at a lecture back in I think it's St. Pete or someplace there that, and he was talking about his journey and how
Mm.
difficult it is for a doctor to step out of their specialty and start
Yeah.
prescribing differently than he was taught to do, and how he's done it so gracefully and he's been able to save a lot of people from surgery because he has been able to help them the way he has. Yes, I'm going to reach
Yeah.
out to him again. So
Yeah.
thanks for
So
remembering.
it's reflective of doctors that have ethics
Hmm.
to learn something new and then incorporate what they've learned into their practice and change the way they practice based on a changing of their paradigm, a paradigm shift, of what they've thought, everything they've learned that was wrong. Trying to, in any case, I just brought him up because you mentioned the word of treating people with broccoli, and he makes
Yeah,
that comment
yeah,
about,
he does.
I'll give you a broccoli and carrot, or I can put a stent in, but it's much better I give you the broccoli and carrot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Well, I remember you have changed so many lives just on my classroom alone, just changed my life. When you I had a friend of ours that was going to be going to a cath lab and they were going to have him sign before they put him under to that it was okay for them to make the decision to put in a stent if they felt that he needed a stent. And you said the magical words that kept him from doing it. And to this day, he has never done a cath. He's never gone to the cath lab. He's never done any of that. And it was because you said you could have an artery 99% clogged, but if you change the way you eat and you change your diet and nutrition the way that it's optimal, that it'll be reversed. And when you said that, it changed his life.
And that putting the stent in doesn't prevent future heart attacks,
Correct.
make you
Correct.
live longer. It was right. So
Yes.
the scam, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I should brag a little bit
Okay. You're always welcome to
that
brag.
even though I'm a little nasal and I'm getting over a cold, I was at this last weekend when I was sick. I had to go up on stage at the 2024 International Conference of Plant-Based Health Professionals,
Mhm.
and they gave me the Legacy Award
Mhm.
for the doctor who's positively influenced other health professionals and doctors in the field.
Congratulations.
So they
That's
gave me an
amazing.
award. And I'll show you the award. Let me show you this. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Show me. You have it right there?
Yeah.
Oh, how nice. How beautiful
Look
is
at this
that?
beautiful, and they made this painting of G bombs. You see my G bombs
I
painting?
do see it. That is
And
beautiful. So they personalized this award. This is wonderful.
yeah, isn't that cool? And they're sending me the real painting. This is the print, and they had the
Wow.
painting made. The artist was there who made the
Oh.
painting, and she said she's sending me the original painting that's more brightly colored than the one they put on the print here. But it is really beautiful.
Wow. Well,
So
I'm
it's
sure the painting will look beautiful at your Eat to Live retreat center, which, by the way, I've been to. It's amazing. If those of you who'd like to look into it, reach out to Dr. Furman's team and just let them know Lily sent you. And because it is a beautiful way for you to retrain your brain and your body and bad habits, take away bad habits, so that you can start living your life and when you talk about this permanent weight loss, this is what you're talking about. And by the way, I just want to plug your book as well. Eat for Life is the last book that Dr. Fuhrman, which I know is not going to be his last book, but he says it is. He said that it's going to be his last book, but I doubt it. But anyway, check it out. You can get a copy of yourself just for yourself. You can click on his name. For those of you who have are subscribers, you already have all his information. Just click it, it'll take you to his website or Amazon where you can get your own copy for the book. Okay, so Dr. Fuhrman, when we look at, um, we already talked about the don'ts, the mindset of get weight off. It takes a lifetime to put in 100 extra pounds or 20 extra pounds of doing the wrong things to affect your body, but somehow we want a quick fix. If I don't lose all my weight in 1 week, it's failed. I'm going to go back to my old ways. So let's talk about some of these impediments that are keeping us from permanent weight loss.
All right, the first thing we have to understand is this concept of caloric rush. So everybody should know what that means, caloric rush. And there are certain food categories that throw calories into the bloodstream very rapidly. That's the how many calories can your bloodstream hold at one time? Can you put 400 calories in the blood? Can you put 1,000 calories in the blood? You know what? And here's what I'm saying, that when you eat natural foods that are designed by the earth is growing, vegetables, beans, nuts, you eat food, the body has to break down the fibers and slowly absorb the nutrients into the bloodstream. And it's hard to put too many calories in the blood at one time. Also because when you break down all that fiber, it thickens the biofilm around the villi in the small intestines, which then utilize calories to feed the fiber, to feed the bacteria. And the fiber slows the excursion of calories into the bloodstream. So it's healthier to have a slower entry of calories in the blood. And the blood, so when you're eating a walnut or some sesame seeds, that's a high-fat food. Let's say you have 200 calories of walnuts. Because the fat is bound to fibers and sterols and stanols, the fat only enters the bloodstream at 1 or 2 calories a minute, right? Now, we burn about 1 calorie a minute for energy when we're at rest. And I'm saying is when the fat calories are entering 1 calorie a minute, we're burning it for energy as we live 1 calorie a minute, and we're not causing any spike in calories in the blood, so to speak. Now, when we eat oil, like olive oil, it enters within 3 minutes. Each tablespoon is 120 calories. And you're absorbing that 120 calories within 2 to 4 minutes. That's about 40 calories a minute coming to the bloodstream. Within 5 minutes, you put 200 calories of oil, you have 200 calories of fat in your bloodstream. Those 200 calories of fat in your bloodstream, instead of 2 calories of fat in your bloodstream from the walnuts, you have 200 calories of fat in your bloodstream from the olive oil, or from the canola oil, or from the French fries, or from the hamburger, or from the pizza, right? See the fat in the bloodstream. It's a huge fat load in the bloodstream. That automatically inhibits the function of the insulin receptor. So now if you eat any sugar with that meal in the form of like a piece of fruit, like a mango, you're going to have a high response to the sugar is going to go up in the bloodstream because the insulin receptor is not working. But that's one thing that happens. And that insulin is the primary fat storage hormone. And the spike of insulin production by the pancreas is going to turn on fat storage and prevent you from losing weight. Not just preventing you from losing weight for that hour or two, but preventing you from losing weight for the next 3 to 4 days. The high level of insulin production is going to make it impossible for you to lose weight, partially caused by the olive oil now. Now, this high caloric rush enters the brain senses it, and you become more dopamine insensitive. And you become habituated to having a large caloric load because the spike of the caloric rush affects the brain the same thing had you snorted cocaine or taken an opiate orally, taking Norco or hydrocodone, right? It's the same thing. The caloric rush acts on the brain in a stimulatory and inflammatory fashion. And now you become feeling empty and unsatisfied unless you continue to achieve a caloric rush with everything you eat. So if I gave you a salad with a nut and seed-based dressing and a bowl of vegetable bean soup and an apple and a nectarine, you wouldn't be satisfied. You would feel empty because there's not a sufficient caloric rush, and you've habituated to higher caloric rush, to putting more calories in the blood, which then have changed the neuroplasticity of the brain to make you desirous of impulsive eating so you have to have a piece of pizza, some French fries, a soda, an ice cream, a chocolate bar. You have to have something heavier with more caloric density, or you didn't even feel like you ate a meal. You're not satisfied with the meal. So the whole American population has been habituated. And not only do they habituate to the caloric rush of oil, but now they also eat white flour with the oil. They have things with sugar and flour in them, like croissants and pizza and burger buns, and they have all kinds of things. And white flour, I consider it similar to cocaine because when you eat a piece of bread, it's the same as eating sugar out of a sugar bowl with a spoon or popping candy in your mouth. So candy corn or white flour or a bagel or a croissant, it's almost the exact same thing because it causes a flood of sugar in the bloodstream. When you eat sprouted wheat berries and Ezekiel bread, or you eat, steel cut oats, or you eat, a carrot stick, those carbohydrates go into the bloodstream slowly over a few hours, not over a few minutes. We're talking about instantaneous flooding of calories into the bloodstream, which then further creates a heightened insulin response and further stimulates the brain. So fast foods, what I'm giving the prototype of fast foods are oil and white flour and sugar. And the prototype of slow foods examples are nuts and seeds and beans, right? Because beans are a source of carbohydrate, but you'll digest the carbohydrate from beans over a 3 or 4 hour period. You'll digest the white bread you eat over a 3 or 4 minute period. It'll be in your bloodstream. The bean calories won't come into your bloodstream for hours. It'll ease into your bloodstream little by little over hours, not over minutes.
Dr. Furman, I have a question for you because you're painting such a clear picture of what happens to us when we are eating certain foods. It's a really great picture that you just presented. So how long does it take for the body to start craving that slow release or that slow entry food? How long does it take from that rush, from going from that rush, maybe you call it neuroplasticity, before
Yeah.
you can start saying, you know
Be
what, I
satisfied. Right.
correct, satisfy with something like foods that G bombs, for example.
Right.
How long does that
I
transition take for people?
Sure. Like I can test you, on a body scan machine, and I can see your basal metabolic rate for you. I can say, let's say, is 1,400 calories a day, and
Okay.
your activity levels maybe add another 300 calories a day, and so you should be consuming around 1,700 calories a day. Let's say to maintain your with the activity you're putting in, or maybe 200 calories a day of burning. Maybe it's 1,600 calories a day. So why are you eating 3,200 calories a day? If you need 1,600, what are you consuming 3,200 for? Well, because you're not satisfied with 1,600 because you got to have 3,200 because of you've habituated your body to changing your brain function and structure. You've changed the structure and chemicals in your brain. So now you're habituated to it. You're no longer comfortable with your most favored caloric window. Your caloric window between 1,500 and 1,700 a day, that's not going to make you feel satisfied. You want to eat between 2,000 and 2,500 a day to feel satisfied.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yes, so that we recognize when people come here, we figure out their right caloric window because we know if they're on their right caloric window and they're eating the right foods, they're losing about a kilogram a week of body mass, about 2 to 3 pounds a week, right?
Okay.
And so they do feel a little bit off, but because all the fiber and all the bulk in the food, within a few weeks, they're comfortable.
Okay, so few week time frame is when people should expect that need to eat excessively would wean
No,
down. No.
it's not the whole answer.
Okay.
They're comfortable enough. They're comfortable enough because the diet is so fulfilling, because there's so much bulk and fiber and
Okay.
roughage in the diet. So they feel satisfied, even though they're not hitting their most comfortable caloric window. Yes. They're not feeling so uncomfortable as they were the first week. Yes.
Yes.
But
Okay.
it really takes months, 3 to 6 months, to
Wow.
no longer feel that desire for wanting that hit in the brain they're comfortable eating the right amount of calories now. They're not suffering,
Yeah.
but they're still missing and not satisfying their deep-seated desire for a heavier caloric rush. that can take 3 to 6 months
Wow.
to gradually
Good to
lessen and
know.
go away, like any other drug addiction. You
Yeah,
get
good
them
to know.
off cigarettes, you get them off cocaine. They in the most discomfort the first few weeks, but they want to keep them in the cocaine rehab for at least 3 months. So the desire for cocaine in the brain is lessened because even they have that memory of desiring it, that feeling of wanting it, that has to lessen by prolonged abstinence from those addictive substances. So I'm saying that high caloric rush foods act as addictive substances to the brain.
Wow.
The brain doesn't recognize the difference between food or drug. And the whole American populace is drugged out on high caloric intensity foods. They're all addicts. And if they weren't all addicts, why would they be wanting to eat foods that are self-destructive? Why
Yeah.
would there be fast food restaurants? Why would there be donut shops? Why would donut shops? Why don't we just make them cocaine shops? What's the difference? They now can sell marijuana, CBD, THC products. Why don't we let people shut them down, shut down the donut shops as well. The donuts are more dangerous anyway, more lifespan shortening. That's been documented in scientific literature out there, how lifespan shortening donuts are. We have liquor stores, right? And we have fast food restaurants. These things are all in business all around us. I go to Florida and I drive down the roads and I'm saying, there's like a fast food restaurant every 2 blocks.
Mhm.
Every 2 streets, you see another fast food restaurant. How could there be enough population that keeps all these fast food restaurants in business?
Yeah.
You're demonstrating that we have a nation of addicts
Yeah.
because this stuff itself is. And why would a person eat something or put something in their mouth that they know is going to shorten their lifespan? Because the body blocks it out, cognitive dissonance, everybody's doing it. You think that this is the whole life. You eat, you destroy your health with food, and then your doctors are going to clean you up by giving you poisons.
Mm.
It's just a whole different way of thinking that has permeated society, leading to a deterioration of people's brains and a deterioration of our planet simultaneously.
Yeah.
Where the survival of the human race is being threatened. And I wrote a book called Fast Food Genocide
I
about this, how
know.
it
Love that book. Yeah. Yeah.
genes you inherit till fast rate. And we see what it's done to our political climate. People don't have the ability to think straight and think logically and have compassion and kindness. They become crazy, impulsive, and narcissistic and selfish. And I'm saying it's all interrelated with the damage food can do to the brain. That you become more instant, you want instant gratification.
Yeah.
You're narrowly consumed with your own impulsive needs, and you become less kind, logical, compassionate, and the ability to think for the future and think how to benefit yourself and your progeny and the world's progeny and mankind and the coming generations. And you don't think as a big thinker anymore. You think in a small, narrow, selfish, impulsive way.
Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
related to the damage to the brain from this addictive relationship people have with so-called food. When eating fried food is not food, fried food isn't it's carcinogenic. When you French fries and fried burgers and things you fry are very so people are living on dangerous food, but
Yeah.
they can't lose weight. And we're talking about here the impediments to permanent weight loss. And I'm saying that the context of their diet, they can't cut back on calories because the calories are not healthy enough. So even if they cut back, they're not going to be satisfied with it. And they have too much, and they have to understand the concept of addiction to be able to deal with that. And also now they've been socialized into a culture that's against being healthy. So if you're going to live on vegetable bean soup and having some steel cut oats and berries and flax seeds in the morning, and you're going to have a wok Thai curry sauce on some mixed vegetables and mushrooms and quinoa and a banana and frozen banana ice cream for dessert at night. So you're going to go out and you're going to live around your friends and you're going to be this health nut eating salads and vegetable soups to lose weight and be healthy. You're going to be ostracized,
Hmm.
socially excluded,
Yeah.
ridiculed, and feel that you're no longer cared for and held up with a high amount of praise from the people in your
Yeah.
community. And part of you isn't going to feel comfortable in being different from all the other
Yeah.
people.
It's the
To
mob
be the
mentality.
person not drinking, right? It's hard to be the one person. Even my kids, my adult daughters, they're even felt, pushback from so-called friends just because they're not drinking alcohol. They don't invite them to their what is it called? The party, like the engagement party, the when before you get wedding, the women get
Yeah,
together,
yeah, yeah.
whatever it's called, bachelorette party.
Oh, oh, okay.
They're like excluded because they don't because the person running it feels they're not drinkers, and if you make the other people feel uncomfortable, if they're not going to all get drunk together, it's like you right. So you're getting so this so this is a strong impediment to weight loss because we've been involved with companies paying us to reduce healthcare costs and have their company employees, their highest, who are their sickest employees, to try to convert their health habits and get them healthy. And when we studied the people that could not do this, or who learned about it and then didn't do it, we found that the biggest impediment was the social ostracizing, and the peer pressure from others in their work and home environments and social context, that they didn't have the home support with enough people living like this around them, and they felt too strange being different. And then we studied what were the features of the people who've lost more than 100 pounds, kept it off for 5 or 10 years, and are proud of their identity as a nutritarian, who continue living in a healthy manner to maintain the benefits. Because don't forget, this is a complete attitude change that you're going to
Yes.
maintain eating healthy the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Because the only way to be healthy is to live healthily forever. And
Mhm.
the only way to permanently lose weight is to live and eat healthily forever, now and forever. So you have to learn, cultivate, you have to study, and you have to learn the recipes, and you have to give time for the taste muscle to change, and you have to and you have to recognize that any change you make to lose weight has to be maintained for the rest of your life. Look at that. What's that show on television where they gave them where they lost all that weight and
Oh, The Biggest Loser. Yeah,
because
that
they
they
all gained the weight back,
they
right?
gain
Yeah.
the weight and there's shame involved with it. And mindset is key.
Yeah.
You made reference to that at the beginning when you first talked, when we first started talking, that that mindset. I know that when I started changing my diet, I went through all those feelings. When I've discovered that I was allergic to dairy and discovered that I was allergic to wheat, people were like, "Oh, that's horrible." And I'm thinking, "No, it was great." It kept me from fast foods. It kept me from breads. It kept me from eating the
Right.
things that were really hurting me. So that I turned that, oh no, I can't believe it. That this poor
Yeah.
thing. No, I turned it into a blessing because it's kept me from the obesity that runs and could be running in my family. And some people are dealing with that. So I consider it a blessing. And that mob mentality, yes, that mob mentality. If you're not going to eat like us, we're not going to invite you to our parties because
Yeah.
you make us feel bad about ourselves because we see that you're not eating it. And now we're looking at ourselves and they don't want to look at themselves. They just want to have fun. And so I
Right.
don't know how many times people have said, "Oh, I really want to invite you, but I just don't know what to make you." I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
What? I could, you tell me what you're going to make, and I will tell you how to make it so that I could have it." I mean, it's that simple. Instead of butter, just use water
Or,
or
or bring your own food or whatever it is,
oh, I
or
do
make
all
it
the
healthy.
time. Yeah, I do all the
Yeah,
time.
but that's not a solution because they want to show all the delectable and all the way they can cook to make it to attract. But it's a different mentality.
It
But
is.
but in any case, so that the mental change that's needed for people to be successful, because let's just assume you're not going to change the world, you're just going to change you. So now you're not going to. So if you're looking for praise from others and you're looking for external sources of self-esteem for other people to support you, you're going to fail. And that's a failure in life too, because external praise and going after glory and trying to seek likes is an empty, bottomless pit that can never be filled. And the more you go after it, the more you just want more of it. It leads to chronic unhappiness anyway. There's a difference when you build internally generated self-esteem. And that comes from your ability to be compassionate and to enjoy the rest and to see the world in a way to see the beauty all around us,
Mhm.
to see the beauty in the world and to try to protect the world and to feel good about the way we see things accurately and to remove our ego in the process. See, when you feel that other people are just as special and just as important as you are, then you don't, and you're not in a competition with them. You're trying to support them and their happiness and their ability to have safety and security and peace and health. When you're doing that, that's called having goodwill for other people. Then you build your own internally generated self-esteem. So you're taking your ego out of it. So when somebody says something nasty to you or puts you down or makes you feel excluded or instead of praise gives you criticism, it doesn't affect you negatively because you're realizing that's a reflection of them and how they see the world. You don't have
Absolutely.
to have a comeback and try to feel superior to them or have them feel less to you because your only interest in interacting with them is trying to show them that you care about them and you have this possibility of being of some assistance or help to them. So when they say, "Oh, if I had to eat like that, I'd rather just die,"
That's right.
just
I've
shoot
been
me
told
right
that
now because
so
who
many
wants to live
times.
with, right? Who wants to live with no. So now my responsibility is trying to convince them of anything. It's to think now, how can I use my wisdom to have this person show them I care about them and that might in the future to have the potential to maybe have a good effect on them in some way. So I'm going to show them I care about them, and I'm going to say, I used to feel that way too, and I could see where you're coming from, and fortunately, I love, what, but if I, and the only reason I said feel this way is because I love you so much, and I feel like you're such a good person, and I would love you to have, but in any case, I can figure out what to say that's not going to put me in competition with them, but
Yeah.
make them feel I care about them and respect them in some way, even though they're putting me down and
Yeah.
attacked me
I get
right?
it.
Because I'm not worried about the attacked. I'm worried about how I can have a good effect on them, how I can maybe better their life in some way.
Yeah,
And if
that's a
every
huge.
time you interact with a person, your interaction is only have you have that one mission and purpose to have goodwill for them, then you don't need other people's praise.
Mhm.
And you see the world the same way because every minute that my eyes are open, we're looking at things we can enjoy. We can look at the beauty of nature. We can look at the beauty of art. We can entertainment. We can have music. We're trying to that we're appreciating the world outside ourselves and being grateful to being alive and grateful for being able to enjoy the beauty of this planet and the beauty of what humans can contribute to the planet. The fact that humans can contribute so much magnificence to what the planet's already here is incredible, right? We're incredibly lucky.
Yeah.
But instead of trying to break it down and destroy it, we want to protect it.
Yeah.
And we're protecting the health of other people, protecting the health of our planet, the purity and safety of it for others to enjoy. And we're feeling more at one and compassionate to every human being that lives. Instead of being against each other, fighting wars, killing each other, destroying the planet, polluting the planet, ruining the climate, seeking all the self-glory we can achieve. So we're moving in the wrong direction.
Mhm.
And I'm relating these ethical, moral, and deep-seated philosophical viewpoints. I'm relating it to diet and your food choices as well,
Yeah.
because they're intermingled. It's all because it becomes too difficult when you intermingle the right way of seeing the world with the right food. You feel best able to accomplish what you want to accomplish and what you're passionate about in your life.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. Everything that you're saying is just making every cell of my body just rejoice because people need to hear this and they need to hear it from someone such an expert like you. And I've seen you in the many years since 2015 I've known you and we've done so many things together and I've seen this change about you and the importance of this mindset and this exclusion and how to approach it in a loving and kind way. I mean I have to if I could give you an award right now I would do that because I've seen that change that growth in you exponential growth in you because it used to be like if as we get started it's all about the food, it's all about the food, but we realize it's not just the food, it's how the food makes us feel. and how we abuse the food and all those things that keep us from that weight loss that we want. And I just want to just take a minute to just talk about my website at whenyouneedafriend.com. When you look at whenyouneedafriend.com, this is where we take 100% responsibility. As you know, my registered service mark is you can take a pill or you can take responsibility. And so today, I hope that all of you who are watching will share this video with everybody that you know so that the algorithms can't keep us from learning this information. So whether it's a comment or an emoji or share it with everybody that you love or people that you feel are going in a path that you would like to love them through it as well. So do that, and please go to whenyouneedafriend.com. While you're there, please subscribe to the website, like and follow me on social media, and share, like I said, share this with as many people as you possibly can, because it's not, that we're all going to die. Yeah, we know we're going to die, but how do we want to live when we take that final breath? And so, with that in mind, just go to support my sponsors the way that they're supporting the classroom. Also, when you look at my Shop Now bag, these are all Lilly approved items from head to toe, pain management without medication, things as naturally as you possibly can. And last but not least, you can become an enrolled student in the classroom, whether it's $1 or $1,000 a month, a one-time donation of your time, your talent, your treasure, whatever it is, can help the classroom grow. So today we have Dr. Joel Fuhrman, and I am just so excited that I get to be a part of what he is all about. And I hope that you guys see the passion in him is genuine. What you see is what you get. I've been to his home. I've been to his retreat center, Eat to Live Retreat Center, which is beautiful. And I want to encourage all of you that if you can't do this by yourself, please seek Dr. Fuhrman, who has different levels where he can coach you to wellness. Eat for Life is his latest book. I want to encourage you, everybody, to get a copy of this book. And Dr. Fuhrman, you know, um, I just want to continue just to say thank you. If you want to go to drfuhrman.com, you can do that as well. There's just so many different ways that you can grow healthy, and we can grow healthy together. So, Dr. Fuhrman, we only have like 4 minutes, 5 minutes left in the broad class here, and I just wanted to say, what are some of the tips that you can share that are keeping people from this weight loss that they desire, this health that they desire?
Well, that the last tip is this, is that when you attempt to achieve optimal health by increasing the nutrient density of your cells, when you're trying to eat a diet with a higher level of nutrients in it, it aids in actively losing weight. So it's not all about calories, because the body no longer has to retain fluid that make the cells be swollen. Fat cells aren't just have fat in them, they're also swollen with extra moisture, with extra fluid, because the body has to dilute the concentration of inflammatory compounds and acidity in the cells. When people start changing that balance of acidity and toxins by eating so healthfully, the body starts to be able to release excess fluid. And the body isn't just passively losing weight, but it's actively losing weight. And the minute you have the macaroni and cheese or the corn muffin, you're telling your body to stop detoxifying, to stop trying to heal, to stop trying to repair tissue, and to stop trying to remove fluid, and you start holding fluid again. So salt and the other components of unhealthy food contribute to your weight loss, your weight gain, an excessive amount that doesn't match their caloric load. So even though you say, oh, well, I'm not overeating. I'm eating the same amount of calories as my neighbor and she's thin, but I'm still not losing any weight. Well, that's because your body's not going to lose weight until you start to fuel it with a higher concentration of antioxidants and phytochemicals and lower the level of toxicity in your tissues. So your body doesn't have to hold on to so much needless fluid, and it starts actively working to purge itself of toxins. It's the purging of the toxins and the cleaning of the cells that accelerates and enables the weight loss. So it's the quality of your diet, not just the quantity of your diet, that we're talking about here.
It's amazing. It's amazing how you've been able to take your career to this level, that to fine tune nutrition to an optimal level. And I'm very proud to call myself a Nutritarian. And I am so proud to have you as a teacher in the classroom regularly since 2015. And I know that you've changed so many lives. I wish I had an award to give you today, but I know that you get your fill you fill your love bucket by seeing all the different people that have changed their lives, and
Yes.
without having to do surgery, without. And you'll I remember the stories when I first met you about how you would take people and bring them to your home to help them out, and how much the depth of how you care. But I just can't say that for those of you who are watching today that know nothing about being a nutritarian, to get Eat for Life. There's so many different books that Dr. Fuhrman has that I think is like 13 or 14. I lost count. But get this one. He says this is the one that he puts everything all together, Eat for Life. And so I want to encourage all of you to take your life back, regardless of if it's popular in your circle of friends. It's time to get new friends, because Dr. Fuhrman just recently, as you know, my father passed away, and I had a girlfriend not only invite me to her home, but cook a meal that I could eat. And I just thought that was just so beautiful. What a beautiful expression of love, to be able to get out of your comfort zone, knowing that this is not how they eat, and
Yeah.
make me such a beautiful meal that included lentils, that included a soup and salad, and included all those things. And so
Right.
your influence is just wonderful. So thank you so much for everything that you do, Dr. Fuhrman.
My pleasure. Thank you, Lily, too.
Yes. And please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lily McDermott and Dr. Joel Fuhrman wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.